Our sportsNOLA.com trivia question of the evening: Drew Brees' game-winning touchdown pass Sunday night was his first career overtime touchdown pass, but the second in Saints history. Who was the other quarterback to throw an overtime touchdown pass? A game winner? Do you have it? It was Danny Warfel. In September 1998 at Indianapolis, Saints win in overtime to go to 3-0. Ricky Jackson, a coach on that team, beat Peyton Manning in his rookie year. Saints had 3 interceptions in the game. He threw it to Cam Cleveland, 33 yards, turned up the right sideline and scored. It was a memorable weekend. The New Orleans Zephyrs just won the AAA World Series. I called it in Las Vegas. Had to hop on a red-eye flight to get to Indianapolis, and then we got there and then was part of the Saints broadcast team with the overtime victory. And then we got stuck in Indianapolis for 2 days because of Hurricane George. We were stuck in the hotel in Indianapolis for another day on Monday. Could not fly home until Tuesday, but it was worth it because the Saints won, and the Zephyrs had won the inaugural AAA World Series. It's time now for our Hot Seat segment. And on our Hot Seat segment, we put Brian Eiley Walsh on the proverbial hot seat with a hot topic of the day and see if we can make him look stupid. Today's topic is all about NFL kicking rules. Are NFL kicking rule changes good or bad? And that's applying the kickoff rule and the new extra point rule. Brian, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Tran. As always, I like this topic, Kenny, and I'll tell you why. It was one that makes you think. And a lot of times, Ricky, it's a difficult thing for all of us here on the dais. I like the fact that they've changed the rule to make it a 33-yard extra point. And I'll tell you why. Last night, Cowboys tie it with, what, 12 seconds left? And now, but they've got to convert that extra point. It's not a gimme anymore. I mean, and he did. Dan Bailey did convert it and send it into overtime. But I like the idea that it's no longer a gimme. And I was reading an article this morning and researching this topic. Jay Feely is talking about today's kicker. And he may be stronger, a more stronger-legged kicker than, say, in past. But what is happening is these young kickers are not as mentally tough as a Morton Anderson or a Jay Feely. And so they're being challenged. What was a gimme from 20 yards on an extra point is now something that they have to think about. And it appears to be going over into the field goal kicking department as well. Let me just throw some quick numbers at you some of it's minutia, but just to give you an example. Through the first 4 weeks of the NFL season, kickers are 283 of 300 on extra points. Last year at this time, there were only 2 missed extra points, okay? Even in week 1, there were 4, and that was double of what there were a year earlier. Field goal conversion rates are comparable. Through 4 weeks, kickers have made 83.6% of field goal attempts, down a little bit from a year ago, and up a little bit from 82. But keep this in mind, they changed this to a 33-yard extra point attempt based on this. 95% of field goals made in 2014 from the 33-yard line, 39 of 41, 95% conversion rate. A year earlier in 2013 from 33 yards out, a perfect 29 of 29. So they came to this conclusion, the owners did. Remember, it passed 30-2, so I don't see this rule changing anytime soon. But I like the rule. In closing, I like the rule, and we'll talk further about the kickoff yard line.
Well, you know, my thing is, you know, the kickoff, they're doing it for the concussion, guys running down full speed. They're trying to avoid that. Okay, that's good. But the extra point, like yesterday, the Saints guy, he was inside the 33, and he missed it from 30. Yeah. So that pressure making those young guys miss the field goal. And I think that was a good rule, too, just to move it back to where it don't be just automatic 1 point. But, you know, a lot of teams can go for the 2. I mean, and that's surprising, being on the 2-yard line, 2.5, that teams don't go for the 2 a lot more. So it's a good rule to take it back, and I think it's a good rule to have where they kick the ball in the end zone. A lot of guys have been hurt, but a lot of guys want to make the Hall of Fame for his kick return and stuff like Hester and them and take them out the ball game.
Quickly, do you like the kickoff rule?
No, I don't, because I think it does take the kick returner out. Kenny, of the game. I think it kind of eliminates that altogether.
Yeah, I mean, just like Hester, I mean, here go a guy that has so many kicks coming back, and he was one of the elite kick returners in the ball game, and now I really don't have a spot for him doing that anymore. So, at least they still got the punt return. I mean, guys can bring the punt return back. So, but they getting so many guys with the concussion and running down like 2 Rams hitting, so they didn't want to,
You know what's funny, what's happened here, the irony of it is, okay, they've almost taken a kick returner job out of the league, and now they've made the kicker, okay? There's guys that are going to be losing their jobs probably this week because of what's happened over the weekend. If you can't convert those extra points and field goals, you're going to lose your job in this league.
Right, and Pittsburgh Steelers guy, good example, lost his job.
Yeah.
Good discussion, and I got a lot here. But first and foremost, you put more weight on the kicker. Is that really what you want in the NFL? It's all about more focus on the kicker deciding the outcome of the game. And like Brian, there are a lot of numbers here. The NFL moved kickoffs to the 35 from the 30-yard line, you might recall, prior to the 2011 season. In 2010, 16% of kickoffs were touchbacks, whereas in 2011, nearly 44% were touchbacks. And now that number is right around 50%. The Saints, by the way, are ranked 9th in touchbacks through 4 games, with 75% of their kickoffs going for touchbacks. And by the way, only 6 of 33 teams are under 50% in catching touchbacks in 2015. I don't like that rule at all. I understand injuries, but there's going to be injuries in football, and the return game is an exciting part of the game. Ask Marcus Murphy. Kickers made 93% of extra points in the preseason. They're 94.3%, as Brian mentioned, right now through 4 weeks of the NFL season, which begs the question, what were they last year? Nearly 99%. So definitely it's had an impact. You're talking about 5% differential. The Saints, by the way, have missed 2, 1 because of a botched snap, 1 a miss by Zach Hocker. So the Saints are tied for 29th right now in extra point conversion rate, which is not good, and that's why they might be looking at something. And by the way, this rate is going to drop more when the weather gets bad in outdoor stadiums, as particular grass surfaces. The number of conversions is going to go down. One other factor to consider, with the extra point now being at the 33-yard line, Nick Folk, the Jets kicker, says there are more collisions up front because the opposing team, special teams, feel like they have a better chance to block a kick, so they're trying harder, whereas on extra points previously, they just went through the motions because it was automatic. So, as you look at things right now, that brings in the 2-point conversion finally. Right now, 12 conversions, 25 chances thus far this year. It was 47% last year, so that hasn't changed much. Bottom line, I don't like the kickoff rule. I do like the extra point rule. When we return in just a moment, college and prep as we continue with Sports NOLA TV.